If you've ever thought, I know I took that photo, but I have no idea where it is, this video is for you, because nothing kills creative momentum faster than not being able to find your own work. Today we're talking about something that isn't flashy, but it is foundational: image organization, storage, and archiving. Because photography isn't just about capturing beautiful images, it's about being able to find them and use them and trust your system. An organized system doesn't just save time, it gives you creative freedom. It lets you revisit your work and build collections and find images for clients and prepare files for print and actually see your growth over time. Without a system, your photos become lost treasure. I'm presently working on some coffee table books. One of them's on a trip to France, which is an easy one to find and organize because it's all in one place. But for my other two, drive-by shootings and shadow play, all the images I need were taken in moments on many trips, and they were captured over many years, even decades. So prowling through folders of files is easy when you've been disciplined and organized them consistently. What we're really doing here is creating clarity. And you've heard me say this before, clarity creates confidence. And not only that, it limits the rabbit trails and squirrel moments when you're in the creative zone trying to get a project or a creative idea going. When you know exactly where your images are, you show up differently as a creative. I do have to tell you about a project I did just yesterday and brag on myself just a teeny bit. I have an old family friend who used to be the fire chief in Sacramento and was actually honored on stage by President Bush in 2001 for his efforts to help with the 9/11 crisis 25 years ago. In this event, it was held in Sacramento, I think it was at the Memorial Auditorium, and I photographed him from the balcony when he was on stage with the president and a large group of people were being honored. It was a super special event and my friend had lost track of his photo and wanted a new one to hang up. So I waded through my archives, 21 terabytes on a server. It was all organized, but it only went back to 2008. But fortunately, I was organized before that too, and found them in the rafters, in boxes, with all the negatives, files, and CDs. Yep, definitely old school. All the files were there in manila folders, alphabetically, like this, and I laid my hands on it in a minute, once I had help getting the boxes down. But here is the test print I found. Here's my friend right there and the president, but all the images are on CD. So now I need to find an old computer that has a CD drive in it to read it. How crazy is that? Still in the weeds with that one, but I think my mom has an old computer with a CD drive in it still. Find how things changed in 25 years. I'm still feeling pretty impressed with myself that I could lay my hands on a file from 25 years ago in a matter of minutes though. So let's take a look at the computer and see what it looks like to have organized files. First, let me say that this system was developed over decades as a pro photographer, and I've taught it in classes to pros and beginners alike for about 25 years. It totally works. And before you get the notion that it might be overwhelming, remember, the core basis of what I'm using today is a laptop with a 4 terabyte portable drive like this. This one's called Surf City. This one's called Pineapple, and it's in a case with pineapples, because I'm a dork. I do have plenty of backups in storage, but all my files are organized in this manner, and I can find them on a drive in a hot second. So let's get down to the basics of my everyday file organization. First, let's cover folder structure. Okay, let me show you a little demo. I am on my external drive, it's called Mango, and here are all my files. So you can see it's by date, 25, 12, 11, and these are all in numerical order by the year first, then the month, then the day. And so I'm pretty organized. After all the ones by date, I have certain folders that I gather over time. So I'm going to look at these in Bridge because it's easier to see what's in a folder. So let's take a look of this one with Isa and Deja. This is an engagement session. So here's all the originals. You can see I've got the RAW and the JPEGs. Then we have the selects. These are the exported ones that are all finalized and ready to post, and there is a lot of them. I did do a gallery of my top 20 So these are the top 20 select. Sometimes I do a special gallery of my faves. Then the Photoshop documents, these are the layered files. So this one is a square and it's been layered. And then I've got the prints. Notice this is named with a 10 by 10 in there. I have a few videos. These are the ones that we delivered. I gave them 9 digital files that they could share on social media. So I did end up making an extra folder of his favorites that I needed to retouch. These are the ones I actually delivered. They're sized down to a deliverable size. And then I made a social media post. So these are the 5 that I put on my social media, and these are full size. I export them. Actually, I do a batch action, and this folder you can see JPEG 1080 for IG. Now I could name each one, but just to keep it simpler when I have a bunch, I just put it in a folder, and all these I know are sized down to 1080 pixels. And you know, they're not big enough to print anymore, but they're perfect for social media. So anytime I go into this folder, I know exactly what I'm looking at. What's high resolution, what's been processed, what's ready for prints, and I know that the ones that are ready for print actually have my signature on them. They're sized, they're ready to import to my ordering software. Everything is super organized. This is where most people fall apart, being consistent. Naming matters more than you think. First, make sure you're consistent with the date format so you can find stuff. Year, month, day. Second, it's a nice idea to add the client name to the exported files for future reference. Like when I get my invoice from my lab, Bay Photo, I can see by the file name what client or project the prints were for on the receipt. It's helpful in billing too, if you use a Photoshop log for your editing time. But mainly, it's important to label any image cropped or sized for a purpose. I keep all my images full resolution and save the finished versions that way. But when I've cropped it down to a size like for Instagram or something, and sized it down, I absolutely put either IG or web in the name, so I know that file is tiny and can never be printed now that it's such low resolution. Now at a glance, I know exactly what I'm looking at. This is huge for Photoshop users. Make sure you can instantly tell which folder has the originals, RAW and or JPEGs, which one is selects, which is edited finals, full size, culled down to the best ones. Maybe they're processed and exported out of Lightroom if you use Lightroom. The layered Photoshop files should be in a separate folder, not flattened. And then the print ready files, of course they're JPEGs, sized to whatever size they're gonna be. Web size files need to be in their own folder because nothing's worse than opening a flattened file when you needed a layered version. So let's talk about protection and access in cloud storage. I personally use SmugMug for my cloud storage, and I love it because I've got unlimited storage, beautiful galleries, client delivery and proofing, and website integration. So my entire website and 15 years worth of archives lives there. And that gives me total peace of mind, which is priceless. My backup mindset is this: it's good to be paranoid because hard drives do fail. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So here's the truth. If your photos only exist in one place, they don't really exist. Your goal should always be a local drive, a backup drive, and some kind of cloud storage. Now let's put this in perspective. First, let me say, I don't use my 21 terabyte server anymore because it's full. And I'm presently using portable external drives. And I back those up to 10 terabyte desktop drives for redundancy. I travel and work off-site a lot, so that really works well for me. And it's simpler to manage on the road. I don't even have a desktop computer anymore, just this, my MacBook Pro. And I have 30 or 40 terabytes of storage. All the files, including raw, client work, travel, and my various side jobs. So it's a lot. I also have cloud storage of all my client work and my final printed files, but not all the unfinished or raw files. Now don't let this feel overwhelming. The core basis is seriously a laptop with 4 terabyte portable drives. All the rest is backups and what happens after a 40-year career of being a professional photographer and a classic photomaniac. I know if you haven't been very organized in the past, or maybe you haven't even needed to be yet, this might feel a little overwhelming, but you don't have to organize your whole life today. Just start with your next shoot. Build the habit going forward. This isn't just about being organized, it's about respecting your work, because your images matter, your time matters, and your creativity deserves structure, not stress. I'll see you back here next weekend, and until then, organize with intention so you can create with freedom. This week, we have an optional assignment, and it's really simple. Create a folder system for your next shoot. Separate the originals, JPEGs or RAWs, the edited or exports, and the prints. And try renaming at least 10 files intentionally, like with a size or format option. And set up one backup solution, maybe an extra backup drive, or maybe sign up for more cloud space in Google, or make a storage spot on your Google Drive. That's it. Small steps, big clarity. And here's a side note. If any of these topics cause you to feel lost, or you want a video on how to do any of them, please email me and tell me your request. I'm always looking for topics that my students want and need help with. You can just email me at Suzette@SuzetteAllen.com. See you soon.